Hello and welcome to the first Perfect Relations Center for Image Management Sciences webinar. I'm thankful to all of you who have shown a lot of enthusiasm to join this webinar. And I'd like to start by telling you the kind of questions that I have received over the last 7 or 10 days. And I hope to address that during the course of my speech, which should take about 7 to 8 minutes. But before that, I'd like to go into telling you a bit about who am I and what is PRCIMS. My name is Devdarshan Chakrabortyy and I'm the Dean of the Perfect Relations Center for Image Management Sciences, which is India's first and one of its kind public relations school, which necessarily focuses on training fresh graduates and individuals for a career in PR. So if you are a fresher and looking for a high profile, high growth, high adrenaline and high creativity career in the business of public relations, then PRCIMS is the place where it all happens. That's what PRCIMS does when it actually helps you with practical training in the business of public relations. I would like to take some time to tell you where this idea of PRCIMS came from. PRCIMS is actually the arm, one of the arms of one of Asia's largest public relations consulting firms, Perfect Relations. Perfect Relations happens to be not just the largest, but one of the most respected and oldest PR firms. We have some of the most enviable bunch of clients, whether it is a Coca-Cola or it is a Godrej or for that matter it is a Google, Nokia, Bharti, you name it, and we handle these clients. But I think a lot of this will still sound a bit Greek to you if I don't start off by explaining to you what PR actually is. As far as I am concerned, I have practiced public relations for the last 25 years. From a time when PR was, in a sense, a young industry in this country. Today, booming and brimming, the business has actually touched new heights with virtually every company, every individual, every celebrity looking for PR. So let me stop here and move to defining what PR is for some of you who might not be quite conversant with what this is all about. In fact, anecdotally speaking, a lot of people say PR is about great relationships. PR is about wining and dining. PR is about just interpersonal skills. A lot of people come to me and say, I want to be in the PR business because I want to meet a lot of people. A lot of this, let me tell you, is really not just a misnomer, but entirely false, completely untrue in terms of how PR is seen and perceived. If you're really looking at marketing as a function, and I'm sure you would admit that marketing is something that every company worth its salt in the market has to be looking at very closely and very intensively, then there are really two arms of marketing. The first arm of marketing necessarily is advertising, and a lot of you already are conversant with what an advertising is. Essentially something that you see in the newspapers, something that you see on television, all your commercial breaks, everything that pops up on your screen necessarily is advertising, and what it does is gives you an awareness of the products, services, brands which are out there in the market. Public relations is something that works quietly, silently, behind the scenes, and something that actually helps you to make up your mind and build credibility in and around a brand, product or corporate. Let me start by giving you an example how that works. And I'll give you a very simple example. Suppose you saw the ad of a film that is about to be released. Great star cast, great directors, a lot of razzmatazz around it, and you're quite excited that come Friday, once the film releases, I will go up there and watch it. At the same time, you also keep an eye open for reviews of the film. And when we talk about reviews in today's digital age, a lot of reviews happen online, so a lot of people are talking about the film. And most importantly, there are people who are film critics and you see and read about the review of the film in, let's say, your favorite page on Times of India, or for that matter in a blog where a film critic is reviewing the film, I can bet that a lot of you actually make up your minds in terms of how the film is going to be. In other words, what would you expect from that film through the reviews? Have you asked yourself the question why? You had the most brilliant advertising going around. Probably, it was being touted as the best film of the century or something like that. But the review does not give it so much of credibility. It probably says it's one mediocre film, and somehow your mindset tends to be defined by that. This entire process of managing third-party endorsements, building credibility and messages around a product is what PR does. It might still be a little unclear. So let me tell you what happens really. So what you typically would do is that let's say you have a piece of product to be launched. Now it's advertised, but the features of the product come alive only once those have been shared with various people in the media. So let's say you have a digital item and you will actually go to the digital media, talk to them about the features of the product, which in due course will be communicated through the media to you. If they say good things, then over a period of time, the product gains reputation. If they say bad things, over a period of time, the product gains notoriety. And that is exactly how public relations works. So, just to summarize it all, it's a business of image building. It's a business of making sure your brand gets the right kind of mileage and value in the customer's mind, not through direct advertising methods, but through various routes which are necessarily in the media space, in the digital space, in the word of mouth space, in the customer connect space, and several other marketing routes which are available to us. There are a couple of things that you need to look at when you are looking at being a PR professional. And the first part of that is creativity. It is very, very closely linked to how you solve certain client problems, certain product problems, certain marketing challenges. Let me give you an example. Let's say you talk about a contact lens. Okay, all of you know a contact lens, what it is. It goes right into your eyes. A very large contact lens manufacturing company sought an advice from Perfect Relations at one point in time in terms of saying, contact lenses are mostly seen as therapeutic items. Essentially, the discussion around contact lenses are all about how well you can see or how uncomfortable it can get. So the discussion is really therapeutic. The usage gets defined in terms of whether it is comfortable to use, easy to use, and whether an ophthalmologist will recommend it. But if I were to make it a lifestyle statement, what do I do? Clearly, if you look at a contact lens, there is very little, what I might say, interest elements surrounding the product. It's ultimately a small piece of highly engineered piece of plastic. That's all, right? So a research helps. Marketing depends quite strongly on research. So let's look at how we approach this. So we looked at a research which actually said people use contact lenses to feel more confident, essentially the younger people. A bride will not want to wear spectacles in her bridal wear. She would probably wear contact lenses for that special occasion. Somebody who's a fresher getting into college on the first day would probably not want to wear a pair of spectacles but a contact lens because they want to look good. Similarly, in the day of your interview, you would probably want to wear contact lenses and not spectacles. So these were research findings. These were not findings that we got out from nowhere. These were research findings based on a certain set of target audiences in colleges, younger working professionals, and so on. So based on this, we decided that probably the contact lens could be used as a part of the bridal wear recommendations made by, let's say, eminent fashion designers in magazines like Cosmopolitan or Femina or wherever the audience looks for advice on that season's fashion for bridal wear. Suddenly, a dead product comes alive in the media. During the time when the freshers are getting into college, that's the time you are talking about that season's fashions. So you are talking of tops and jeans and contact lenses. Suddenly, the contact lens comes alive. That was one example of how brand PR works. The other side of the story is when you are actually defending crisis. And there are many such examples where corporates come under attack from the public and from the media on a number of issues. That is where strategic communications plays a role. And then there are several other disciplines in PR, which includes financial PR. Before you get into the stock market listings, you would like to talk to publics about the fundamental strengths of your company. You would go and talk about social PR. Suppose you are a company which deals with textbooks, you will want to go out into the public and talk about literacy campaigns because you are a textbook company, and so on and so forth. So marketing communications, social communications, crisis communications, brand communications, image building, personal PR, celebrity management, all these things are what we call constitutes the discipline of public relations. From here, I'd like to step away and talk to you a little bit about therefore what in terms of career. As you can clearly understand, it's a very specialized field, needing you to understand the nuances of consumer behavior, marketing, needing you to be more creative, needing you to be able to communicate messages clearly, and so on and so forth, and also needing you to be more conscious of your environment and market conditions. Only then you will be able to give out the right advice to your clients. Teaching the skills of PR and the tools and all the subjects that I have just now discussed to you becomes important for employability in the PR business. There is a difference when I say employability. You can learn a public relations and a media management course, but being in this business for the last 25 years, I can tell you that it is very hard to be practically useful to an organization by just knowing the theoretical sides of what the business is all about. Theory is good. It gives you a lot of ideas on what the discipline is all about, but unless you know the tools hands-on and you haven't practiced it, your employability becomes low. So effectively then, you get in as if you wanted to join a PR business in a corporate or in a PR agency, you still get in as a trainee after having completed an MA, let's say, right? So many years spent, but you still get in as an MA. On the contrary, even a fresh graduate, if he is trained in the right skills of PR along with the subject matter, that person joins a couple of rounds higher straight away because he is more employable compared to the more educated. So there's a difference between employability and just simple education and degree gathering, right? The obvious question will be, so what is going to be the salary levels at an entry level? It varies between corporates and agencies. But I have not seen any of my batchmates or any of my old batches who have actually been trained in PR to have started their careers any less than 20,000 rupees per month to begin with. So that's pretty good for a fresh graduate. And not just that, today the Indian PR business is now not just large Indian PR companies like Perfect Relations, but also a large number of multinational PR agencies. So if you're really doing well in that industry, getting an international job exposure is really very easy. So it's a high growing field, high creativity, high pay, and high rewards because talent is recognized here and is paid for quite extensively. But it is important therefore to start the career on a right footing. If you know how to handle things, then doing the right things and getting the right job becomes important. It is pretty much like any other degree or diploma that you might get in an MBA or in a finance. you get the right start, and that makes a hell of a lot of difference. It's actually the difference between a good start immediately and getting to know your career and making a start 2 years after you have started working. That's a hell of a lot of time. So I have talked to you a little bit about what is PR. I have talked to you a little bit about the career options. I have talked to you about why you need to train and what do you really need to train on. And I have talked to you a little bit about perfect relations and PRCIMS, because we do offer a course which is fairly path-breaking and one of its kind in a manner in India. If you have any further questions, you're most welcome to post on the YouTube link where we are doing this webinar. Based on that, I will probably come back to you in about 2 weeks' time, wherein these questions, of course, will be answered in the next 3-4 hours, the questions that you have after listening to this speech. After that, I will also collate some of the information and come to you with a more focused, more specific PR-related webinar, which could also act as an online introductory education to the subject of public relations. Maybe that should help some of the youngsters who are looking at communications as a business and help them be more focused in terms of the career that they want to pursue. So with all of that, I want to thank you for listening to me and wish you all the luck in your future careers. Thank you very much.